The condition is really crazy condition.
I mean, that shouldn't give away the whole secret to professional windsurfing.
Maciek giving Antoine elbow the rock for his body. Here we go. What a finish.
The guy is kind of talking bullshit.
The team's just got to work a little harder.
Welcome to the Windsurfing Podcast, back again for episode 49. And this week, we're going Dutch. Yes, we're going to talk about racing and slalom. Probably one of the nicest guys in the scene right now. 28 years old. He did his first PWA competition in 2012, and in 2017 got his first podium. We're going to be talking about sponsorships. We're going to be talking about what it's like to be a pro at the moment. We're going to talk about what it takes to challenge for a world title, because that is obviously his goal. We're going to talk about the opposition, the tops guys at the moment, Nico Goyard. We're going to do the Quickfire and all that stuff. Who is it? Well, it is, of course, Jordy Vonk.
Okay, let's set one thing straight for forever before we start. Jordy or Jordy?
It's officially Jordy.
Okay, so I've been calling you the wrong name for the last 15 years, but...
The thing is, as everyone starts to call me Jordy, I even introduce myself like that.
Okay.
It just got such a common thing.
Okay. So
as long as it's not the Spanish Jordy, it's fine.
Yeah, Jordy Alba was pretty good back in the day, so...
Yeah, Jordy Vonk is what I heard a couple of times.
Yeah, Vonk in Polish is a fart, so you want to stay away from that.
In Dutch, it's a sparkle, I guess. That's a nicer Dutch to Vonk.
Yeah, there was also the one with the company that the logo was the guy throwing up over the toilet. That was something like Bank also or something, no? He used to sponsor Benny van der Steen for it was a clothing brand.
Wow, I don't remember. It must be before my time.
Yeah, I think it was Bonk or Bank or something. Whatever. Anyway, I mentioned 15 years. Or something like this. That's how long we go back. It's pretty crazy. But I don't actually recall, like, when was the first time you were at an event, like 2008 or something? Like
no, 2009 European Championship in Schönberger Strand. I actually remember pretty well.
Yeah. Yeah, I still have the picture. You won the junior. You won the under 17 and I won
No. There was this other Polish guy who Maciek or something.
Yeah.
He was also a sailor, I think. He won the under 17.
Oh yeah. So why? I don't know. I have a picture with you on the.
Yeah, I was second.
Okay. Yeah, it was my glory event. I borrowed a fin from Arnon. Borrowed me a fin, and it was fucking flying. And I had no clue. That it would be so good.
But the funny thing is, I actually brought sails for the guy, this Polish guy from Holland, for him to use in the competition. And I know he bought them from a guy who tunes up everything perfectly. So I was like, let's at least take all the bad intention off. Maybe he doesn't have a clue. It didn't seem to change much as he kicked my ass anyway.
It was RS Racings. At that time, yes. I think the RS Racing was
another level.
Yeah, a step above everything. I think you had Gastra was not the easiest thing to tune back then, I think. True. But you grew up in Holland, and rumor has it that Formula, slalom, whatever it is, there was this kid your age, a little skinny kid called Kieran Badlow. And rumor has it you were smoking him, whatever year, whatever, upwind, downwind. I gotta admit, I was beating him most of the time. I mean, I was only 1 year older than him. But even in up and downwind, like already there, because he was doing big techno on the side. I did this for only one race. I thought it was so boring, so I never did big techno. And that's most likely why my tactical skills are so bad.
it's probably also the reason I don't even try IQ. But I was always just fast, you know, I was always flying. And at one point, because he stayed so skinny, when it was super light, he was actually the faster one. But most of the time I was always faster.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was doing his whole big techno and then RSX project. So yeah, for sure, his technical skills got so much better, and obviously his speed got up as well.
Yeah, he's a tall fucker. I don't know what's with you guys, Dutch guys, but I think every single, maybe Benny van der Steen is the only one, but every other like windsurfer I know from Holland is 190 and above, even wave sailors and stuff. So
yeah, Martin ten Hoeven, which is over 2 meters. Casper Bouwman is tall. I'm tall. Kieran is tall. Luke van op Zeeland is tall. You know, I think we're even average the tallest people in the world, so it kind of makes sense.
Yeah. There is a clip. There's this clip of Clarkson saying like that you're probably the tallest because you take the most drugs too. Oh no. So
who knows?
Yeah. So we had a little bit of a golden generation, not maybe golden, but a little bit of a generation thing going on in those international contests. And now that I look back, it was quite a strong generation. Like, let's say people born from like 89 to 93, let's say, Pierre, yourself, Sebastian Cordel, Alex Couzon, Jules Denel was fucking good. This other Dutch guy, I forget the name. Tede, yeah. And what do you remember like from those youth events? It was kind of like we would meet maybe twice a year, right? On the IFCAs, and then this guy would grow, or this guy would get big, or this guy would get fat, or this guy would get faster, or this guy all of a sudden was fully sponsored by Neil Pride JP, like the British guy, Rich Jones, or whatever. So what's your memories from that time?
For me, it's just crazy. Like, I never won a world title. Like, I think every year on the podium. So on the 17, I was on the podium. The year after, on the 20, either Europeans or worlds for like 3 years in a row, but I never won. And what I really remember is just crazy that some guys, which were kicking your ass at that time, they're just gone. Like, after that whole youth, you never saw them again. And that's, you know, for sure, Tristan Augray was one of the guys. He's exactly my age. We were fighting and he's still there. But some guys, I mean, it's already 8-9 years ago, so I forgot the names. They were mostly French as well. I mean, enough French stayed in the sport anyway. But it's crazy that some guys were either your level or beating you at that moment, and they were just gone. But I think first of all, if you think what gear you had and what fins you would race and how you would test your gear or not test at all and whatever, then you realize now that maybe that why a person could be triple the speed than you, right? You know what I mean? For sure. I remember 44 Tectonics fin, which I was loving at that moment.
I won a youth title on the 44 Tectonic, which is like the biggest piece of shit ever.
It was not so bad at the time, but those kind of things. It's so funny because they most likely already had carpenters and stuff, you know. Yeah. And at that time, you just don't know better. It was 2011. I got a bunch of select carbon fins, you know. Fuck, I would probably not even be able to go straight at that moment. But I think the first proper fin I bought was from Peter Fullwater. It was like a Z fins, and I was searching for a 37, but he had a 38, and I was like, okay, fuck it, I need to have a Z fin, so I buy a 38, you know. And I think it was 2013, I think. It was after I started actually doing a PWA in 2012. You could see what all the guys have in the bags, and we go like, wait, this is a whole different game.
Yeah. Who do you like out of those people? Who do you remember that you think was quite bad and turned out to be pretty good, or the opposite, that was absolutely spritzing and, like you say, either stopped or maybe maybe, you know, maybe isn't that good as projected. Also the size difference back then, like, you know, somebody would grow 20 kilos from one year to another, for sure would be flying.
I mean, the funny thing, for example, was Enes Yilmaizer, who was kind of light, skinny youth, being top 10 in Alachati, you know, and he was like the future. And the bigger he got, kind of the slower he got. Yeah, he was always competitive, but definitely not top 10. But when he was youth and 70 something kilos, he was actually doing top 10. You know, was one of those guys. I mean, now he has fucking millions of followers on YouTube. I think he's not complaining about how it all went down for him, but he was one of those guys who, I mean, he was a little bit the generation before me, but I remember when I was still under 17, he was then under 20 and already doing good in PWA. And PWA was still so far from me. Like, I was not thinking about doing PWA yet. So you were really looking to those guys.
Yeah. What would be, obviously it's a lot, I see it kind of a lot easier these days because you can just text Jordy Vonk on Instagram and ask what fins he's using and whatever. Back then was not an option, but what would be your like advice for guys coming through this IFCAS and all this and kind of, you know, to get to maybe where we are or better or whatever, or even get on tour? Or
I mean, for sure, take it step by step, because I do believe it actually made us really good. Because we were fighting our way with Select and Tectonics, G10 fins, you know. But I believe we learned so much from it. I think it really helped us. And if I see these young guys now having fins also every centimeter or every half centimeter when they are 17, you know, it almost looks like they kind of get fast because of the gear they have. And then the moment it really comes down to the last, let's say 10, 20%, which is in the end being 30 in PWA or top 10 or top 5, you know, that's how big the difference is. There, I actually really believe that not having that good gear before I was, for example, 19 or 20, I think it was 19 when I did a first World Cup event. I think it just makes you a better windsurfer. You know, it is for me sometimes crazy to see because you know how my van is. It's super organized. You can see everything. You can see what's inside. You know, they open a fin bag. You see all the fins inside. And now I have the feeling that a lot of kids think at that age they need to have that to be competitive. But Jesus, I was 24 when I had a van, you know. At their age, I didn't have all that gear. I had 3 fins. Let's say 3 to 5 fins, 3 booms, which you were making shorter, longer, depending on the size. And this way you kind of fight your way through, you know, like for sure. I think since 2008, I did had a full range of sails. So, you know, we had enough stuff in that way, but I really have the feeling that, those young guys really think they already need to have the bunch of stuff we have to be competitive. No, before you're 20, hey, just try to make the stuff you have work, go to Tenerife, try, learn, you know, and the other stuff, the other details will come along the way. I don't think it's necessary to already have that whole setup. I mean,
I would say like when I think back to that time, it's more like it's not that I had random stuff, but like I would have some stuff, but I would have no idea how to tune it. So let's say even if you had good gear, then you would come, you know, sort of relatively unprepared because you wouldn't even get 70% out of the gear, right? So so there's always, without having a lot of stuff, you can still get quite a bit out of the gear, I guess is what you say. And the other thing that I would say after you said you talked for 10 minutes about your van is just stop posting pictures of it all the time. Then maybe they won't crave it so much. I mean, I know you're proud. I've never seen anybody so proud of something as you are of your van. I mean,
I post one picture a year. It's not so bad.
Your kid might get jealous a little bit, but Let's see.
Yeah, what it is.
And you remember what made you like a decision like, okay, let's try to become a pro. It
started super early. I think I did my first competition in 2006. I couldn't even jibe yet. I learned windsurfing in 2005. In 2006, I was planing. And 2 months after, I was trying a competition. It was called The Mission. There's like 300-400 competitors. For 10 years, I think it was a massive event. It was really good for the sport in Holland. And I was always good till the first mark, and then I was swimming every single jibe. But it made me motivated. Like, I want to try this more. And then in 2007, I won my first competition, which was just because I was 55 kilos and I borrowed the formula stuff from my father. So I was actually the only one planing. Like, they didn't really care if it was like windy or not. It's like, we do a slalom race in whatever conditions. So I had a 55 kilo at a 9 meter sail. I was still seeing people floating at the mark because it took me so long to jibe that they almost were as fast floating. But in the last reach was a long reach, and then I overtook them all and I won. And I won this like second-hand scratchy trophy. But I was stoked. I was so super proud. I went home with this trophy. I put it in a place and I was like, fuck, I want to have more of those. And I don't know, it really, from there on, I was like, okay, I want to go to the PWA tour. That's my goal. And they advised me okay, focus on those IFCA youth stuff. So I literally did, the last year I was in the IFCA youth. I also did the first World Cup in Sylt. So I did 1 year under 17, then 3 years under 20, and then roll into the PWA. And for me, when I was doing this IFCA stuff, it was kind of clear, like, okay, I will go to PWA after this. Like, I couldn't imagine why those guys around me who were fast as well, they never even tried. Like, for me, it was like, Jesus, why are you here for? You know, are you just here to win this IFCA youth title? Like, you don't want to, that's it? Like, you don't want to go to the real stuff after this?
Yeah.
So it actually started really, in a really early stage that I was like, okay, I want to do this.
Yeah. Sylt, what an event. What a first event to do as a 19-year-old. What do you remember?
I think I was drunk. I think I was drunk 9 out of 10 nights. I went there with Ben van der Steen. We drove together in we borrowed the van of my parents. That's where I slept inside on the parking space. It's piss raining every day. So the only dry place to sit was the tent. The tent was party every single day. And I was always asking Ben, like, Ben, what's going on tomorrow? Is tomorrow away for freestyle? Can I go party? It's like, yeah, tonight you can go. And he said this for like 4 or 5 nights in a row. And then I was like, Ben, but you always tell me to go. He's like, man, Jordy, you're not here for the results now. It's your first World Cup. You think you're going to do good? No, you're not going to do good. So go party.
For sure, you thought you were going to do good, but then...
Yeah. No, he was just like, go party because you'll be back here hopefully for when you actually do results, and then you don't want to be distracted by this whole nightlife thing you have on Sylt, So it's like, go out there, go now, have all the fun, see everything, and then eventually you will come back and go for the result, which in the end was kind of a wise lesson. And I think 9 out of 10 nights I managed.
Yeah. And the party scene, I mean, there is a little bit of a party scene on tour, or was, at least when we were starting. Now it's a little bit more dead, let's say.
Yeah.
What do you like? Give me your wildest story from those that you can or probably share. I will put a little disclaimer that you're married and you can't really go all in on the story, but
from Sylt or from any.
Give me one from Sylt and then we'll go to Fuerte.
I have a creepy one from Fuerte actually.
Go.
Where the year after, So, well, obviously, 1 year, we had a lot of fun at the party. Next year, I come back, and the last night at the party, I meet her again, and she's like, "Why were you ignoring me a whole week?" Like, ignoring you all week, man. Were you here already? Yeah. I was here since the beginning. I was watching your races, and this race you were happy, and that race you were over early, and this and that. And I'm like, and here at this moment we made eye contact. And I was just like, Jesus, like for 5-6 days, she's been following me all the time. And I was just like, no way. Like it was just scary. And then she asked me, can you maybe bring me back to my car? I don't want to go back alone. And then I think Sebastian Kornem and some Danish guys saved me, and we walked back all together, and we kind of fucked up. But that was obviously scary. It was like kind of a groupie. These groupies who we have sometimes on these events, which got a little bit creepy.
Yeah, in Sylt they're usually 50 plus, and
no, in Sylt like 1 year when it was only for when we went, I think it was 2019, where we went for foil only.
Yeah. Horrible.
Yeah, it was horrible. I brought Maria, and we went to party as well. And she stood there with the open mouth, like she couldn't believe what was happening. Where really like girls were just hanging on guys, and I'm not gonna call a name, but the guy literally turned around. She's like, "Hey, please go away. Like you break my balls. Just, I don't want you. Okay." And she was still hanging on. Like, maybe I still have a chance to take him home tonight. Like it it's so silly. It's insane.
But it's funny. You kind of treat it as normal, and then you bring somebody like your then girlfriend there, and she kind of sees all those things, right? And it's, yeah.
It's a different perspective, no? Like when you're there drunk, single, you take those things very differently than when you're there with your girlfriend.
Yeah.
You knew already it was kind of crazy, but then you actually realize, like, fuck, this is actually insane.
Yeah. Do you remember getting stuck against the sweaty ceiling I remember one night, like, I walk into the American Bistro, it was a little bit later. You guys were there already for maybe, a couple hours and whatever. And the first thing I see, I don't know who, probably Tristan, you kind of, you go out, you want to look kind of okay. So you put a good t-shirt on. So you walk in and Tristan rips your t-shirt right off your chest straight away. That's the Peter Fallwater move. And then the second I see when I walk towards the dance floor is guys are lifting you, but because the bar is only like 2.5 meters tall, you're actually stuck against the ceiling. And that ceiling, if anybody been to the American Bistro, like around midnight, it starts raining from that ceiling because it's all the sweat from the dance floor just goes up, and you were there like kind of stuck against that ceiling.
I mean, for me, the most impressive thing was still Gunnar Asmussen being put against that ceiling. I mean, I've for sure been there as well. But when I remember lifting Gunnar with some guys against that ceiling, where things really got a bit dangerous.
Yeah, I can imagine, for sure.
But it's just insane how this Americans bar, because if you describe the bar, it's literally nothing special. If you go during the day, if you go during the day, you're like, what? This is the famous place in Sylt, It's crazy. It's like, but I bet even beside the World Cup, the rest of the year, it's an average lame bar, I guess. But during the World Cup, there's in the weekends, like an hour, 1.5 hour waiting row for people who are willing to go inside. And of course we have this riders.
I don't know, because we never wait.
No, but I remember going in there and you see 3 chicks in the row, and you go to the security guy and you're like, oh, I want those 3 to come with me. And they would go halfway the row, grab those girls. And okay, take them inside, those kind of things. And I remember then you ask, and we are waiting for 1 hour to get in. Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. So you're the hero straight away.
At that moment, yes.
Yeah. It's too cold outside. I never go outside.
Yeah, it's so cold. It's horrible. Yeah. Especially when you get out, you're so sweaty. Most likely you don't have a t-shirt anymore. Jacket can be lost. And then you have to get back home. Ugh.
Yeah.
And especially in the first years where you were living off €5. So you bought this €4 cheap ass vodka bottle, which actually gives you instant headache. Yeah. which makes things just worse. But good times. Yeah, it's definitely good times.
Yeah. Let's switch the subject because people will think that's all we do.
We did quite a lot. Well, we gotta admit, we had some good times.
Yeah. How hard, like when we talked a little bit about, the grind and the young windsurfers and not wanting to maybe try and whatever, kind of figure out why. How hard was it for you, like with money and with putting together budgets and finding sponsorships for a guy that is 40th on the World Cup or whatever?
I mean, like let's say until I was 18, my parents made sure I had the gear, brought me to places. I think I was working in a supermarket. So I think I was earning €3 something an hour. But at least I was working, and I remember every time we bought something, I had to put something in myself, and I think now I realized how much my parents were actually doing, because they were not, I'm not from a wealthy family, not at all. And my parents at those years, they literally gave everything to kind of make sure I could do it, and then I turned 18 and they were like, okay, we can't no more. You're 18 now. Good luck, and not completely, because they were still bringing me to the airport. I was living in their house, but it was not like, okay, here's money to go to an event or to buy gear or blah, blah. No, I really got to do that on my own. And then because they told me you can do whatever you want, but we want you to finish university. Like do whatever you want, go whenever you want, but finish university. So I went to university and I went to a special one. I don't know if you know Johan Cruyff, a footballer.
Yeah.
He set up like a university for athletes. So I only had to go to school twice a week. And the other days I could train or do competitions, but I was also very flexible. So if I had to be in, I don't know, Fuerte or Tenerife to train, I could go. I could do stuff online, make exams online. So it was all pretty flexible. But basically I was going 2 days to school. Then the other 3 days I was working for a transport company. So I was either sitting in a truck, driving to museums, or driving in a van myself, moving expensive paintings, art, all kind of stuff. And from that job, I could afford this stuff to pay windsurfing. Like I was driving Sylt Ibiza, 3 doors from 99 with a trailer behind, pretty Dutch thing as well.
The trailers.
But the car was €1,000. That's what I could afford at the time, and it worked. It was fine, And then if I had to go somewhere longer, I was driving with other guys, or my parents had Volkswagen California van. So if I had to go to Sylt or sometimes to Costa Brava, I borrowed their van. But in Holland, I was mostly using my own old shitty car. And yeah, basically that job kind of saved me to pay all the bills for windsurfing. And yeah, from there it kind of starts. No, like it was quite a slow process, I guess, to actually get some money from brands. But at one moment, okay, you get some stuff on loan, so the gear doesn't cost you any money anymore. Just traveling. Then you get some stuff for free. then next year you can actually put that into your traveling, and like this, it was involving a little bit. And I had this sponsor, this Appelhoven. It's in my sales since 2007. He helped me from the start, and it started with a couple $100, and it was increasing over the time, and it was just crucial, without a guy like that, literally thinking, he's a windsurfer, kite surfer, sailing, he has the water sport heart basically, and he always thought it was cool what I was doing, and he's like, he one day came to me and was like, you know what, I like to sponsor you. And his help has been crucial as well. Like with that extra bit of cash when you're 18, 19, 20, that was just with the money I earned from working, made it possible to do everything. Yeah. And I think I worked at the company for 4 or 5 years. So until I was 23, I think I was working on the side.
Yeah. So what do you have to do? Like, obviously I sort of know, but for the people, what kind of results do you have to do to get free gear? And then what kind of results you have to do to actually get paid a salary from the brands?
I mean, I'm thinking when I got my first free gear, 13,
no, 13.
In 13, I think, 13, I was still on Loft St. Patrick, which I got on loan. Then in 14, I was on 0.7, where I got I think I was, for winning a national championship, I got a sale. For little things, I got something, and the rest I could pay after the year.
I got a sale for every final I made. Which wasn't much, but
yeah. But then actually I got like 10 boards for free from F2, which was dying at that moment. But I got 10 boards for free. So what can I say?
So you killed F2 basically.
Basically, I think there was nothing left to kill. I think, I think it was killed already before.
If you take the 0.7 team from that year or from those years, it was a pretty strong team.
Freaking strong.
Yeah. Pascal Toselli, Enrico Marotti, Alberto Menegatti, myself, yourself. I don't know.
Vincent Langer, I think, was also
Langer,
on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, Jesus, was insane. Andrea was still racing at the time.
Yeah, Andrea was like top 10. So, yeah, should have had a bit more patience there, Cookie.
That was a strong team. Well, good vibes actually. It was nice. Yeah. But yeah, what did it? Yeah, I was making some finals at that time already to get to a deal like that. And in Holland, I kind of started to, I don't want to say dominate, but I was kind of, Peter was still there for sure. Peter would still kick my ass. Ben was actually living in Tarifa already, so in Holland I was never really racing against him, but I was kind of starting to be the main guy in Holland. So yeah, those two things combined, I think, made it for free gear. And then I think when I was 13th and 11th, which was, 2016 and 17, that's where you get a little bit of cash. And then I jumped straight to fourth. So in 2018 I was fourth. In 2019 I was fourth. Yeah, those years was those years it got better, let's say.
Yeah, and before that, because you get your first podium and you get. It's funny because from the inside you kind of see that you're maybe making progress, but from the outside until you win something or you make a podium or whatever,
and you can be so unlucky too, because in 2015 I was 30th on tour, and I was with Starboard and 0.7, and I was actually fast. I was actually doing good races, but just got unlucky quite a lot of times. The results in the end were horrible. My results were horrible, but everyone was seeing that I was actually kind of racing good. So yeah, you kind of have to be a bit lucky as well. But when you're on this way up, I don't think it matters too much. For sure, you got to show that you can do it. But when you're young, when they see the potential and you have this glimpse of the potential, then they believe it will come. Yeah. But for sure, you need to make some finals. You need to do good.
Yeah. And then, so then how you, because as you say, you were on starboard 0.7, which at that time was very fast. I don't know if the fastest or not, whatever. I mean, Alberto just got second in the world with that combo. And everybody that kind of jumped on it, I mean,
it was fast. It was mega fast.
It was super fast. And then all of a sudden you decide to go with Fanatic Duotone, which from what I heard wasn't such a big deal or whatever. I mean, like contract or anything. So it was like you basically chose to maybe build something for the long term with them. But why there? Why?
The thing is, like, it was a hard choice, because I was really good with Cookie. I still am, and I was with him on the phone a lot because he was really, I think, struggling managing this big team. And he didn't know who was going to stay, what kind of budgets he would have. And he could never give me a budget. He was always like, we have to see, wait. He was kind of depending on the other guys to see how much budget would be left for me. With Starboard, at that time, there was a team manager and he was just so bad in communication. And I tell you, I was getting nothing, it was no deal at all. So with Starboard, I was kind of struggling, especially this team manager actually got either fired or left a month after.
I remember him.
Yeah. And so I was super frustrated with that guy. And then Cookie was like, and then I told Cookie, I have this offer and I like Danny Eberly. I absolutely love him, and he was really pushing for it. And then, so in the end, the deal was better. The distributor in Holland, he is really active. It's really pushing. So he could help. With Danny, I really liked it. So it felt comfortable. And
so
even
you think it's mostly like, because there's probably two things, right? When you are trying to find the right environment or whatever. One thing is the gear, which of course has to be fast if you want to do results. And the other thing is the environment, the contract, how they treat you, how you feel, if you're developing yourself, if you're testing and whatever. So what comes first for you? Like, because on one hand you could say like, okay, if I come top 5, doesn't really matter what my status in the company is and whatever. But at the same time, you don't see many people coming top 5 without a solid in, like backing in the company, meaning, you want to get your, couple prototype masks, you want to know what's going on with the buttons, you want to know, like you want the shaper to check your boards, etc. So what do you think? So you make that decision. What do you make it based off of, let's say?
I mean, at that time, you're also really looking at the deal still, no? Because it was not that I was making any money, So I did not know if I could actually get all my stuff for free at 0.7. I knew I would still needed to spend a lot of money at Starboard, And all of a sudden, you have this opportunity where you get a lot more stuff than you might get at the current sponsors. And, at that time, North Sylt Fanatic at the time was also really on the way up, and the results were getting better. They made that magical 9.0 and getting a better offer and a lot of uncertainty at the brands I was, the brands I was having at that moment made it kind of feel safe to go to them. The deal was good. The gear at the time was getting better and better. The people there I liked. So it kind of felt...
So it was more the environment, let's say, than Because one thing that, that I would for sure not advise is like go for, because sometimes you can, you know, you see 5,000 euro on the contract when you're not making any money.
For sure not.
And you're gonna get excited. But if the gear is shit, you're gonna lose prize money, and you're gonna, like, if you're on the way up, it's very easy. You know, you have a bad season and you kind of get crossed off, right?
I mean, Matteo literally got world champion on the year I left, you know? But that never went through my mind, like, fuck, he is on the world champion's gear, you know? First of all, I was still not on that level, you know, I was 30th. So it was not like, oh, he became world champion with the stuff, I should have stayed. Maybe I could have become it as well. No, this was not the case. You know, and it was not that I was unhappy with the stuff, you know? Starboard still is amazing boards. You know, 0.7 was really fast, is still fast. You know, it was not at that time that I was like, I need to get other stuff because this stuff is shit, you know. No, it was just Andrea couldn't tell me what he was going to give. From Starboard, there was super shit communication. So it just really felt like, and then you have this opportunity at two big brands, you know, which also have good stuff. You know, so it felt safe for me to do it. So was it a lot about the environment and stuff? For sure as well. But it was not that it felt like a step down from the gear, right?
Yeah.
So I never regretted at that time making the step.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, you know, you kind of got some pretty good results straight away, no? Like fourth in where was
Costa Brava.
Costa Brava, and then with that 9.0 that you mentioned. Second in Japan. I mean, you mentioned like you were unlucky, but I think
that was 2015. I said.
No, yeah, I know, but sometimes like you also. I think in that time now it's not going to happen so much with the foiling, but I think at that time it was. I remember that Japan event, and you guys started. I was out, I think, in the quarters or whatever, and you guys started that final like 8 times, and every one of them was different. You were leading one, I think, and I
was also leading one at the last mark, you know, so I could have won that event as well. I mean, that event was one big lottery. You know, it was one big lottery. It was like, what can I say? Do I feel like I deserve the second place? Fuck, no one would have deserved it, maybe, you know, like, because it would have been a lottery anyway. But still, it gave a big push. I mean, you know how it is. And I do believe, I mean, I was sailing good that year, you know, so why not me being up there on the stage? Like, I still claim
you take it. No.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. But for sure, the third you had in Korea with the one final and stuff was.
I was second there as well.
Second as well. And
for sure, was much more rewarding. But the thing is, for sure that's more rewarding. But for me, it's like I became also fourth in so many events. I became fourth in Fuerteventura. I became fourth in Costa Brava. I think I was fourth one time in Sylt. Like, and for sure, maybe when I was fourth in Fuerteventura, it was almost harder to reach than maybe second in Korea. You know, you're almost even prouder of that of that fourth in Fuerteventura.
But, that's what I mean. That's what I mean by like people from the outside, and sometimes even the industry, you know, like sometimes it gets a little bit lost. Like what's I don't know, what's easier and harder to do and whatever. Like you say, fourth in Fuerte, it's like there's no luck involved. You're going to have, you know, at that time, you're going to have 3 guys that are absolutely on fire, and, you know, like they're fighting. They were by far a step ahead of everyone, basically like discarding thirds and second places and whatever, you know, making every final and that. So then, it's like the best of the rest, fourth, sick, you know, whereas like you say, second in Korea, it's fucking amazing for sure. But, you know, this guy made a mistake and whatever, one spot opens, something happens, is that. So I don't know. Sometimes you feel like sometimes it gets a little bit like we know, but people, especially on social media,
I mean, yeah, sometimes they hype up some guys, and I was really like, hey, we got lucky there, you know. And I mean, if I look then to myself,
who you remember? Come on, that was getting hyped and wasn't that great.
Oh, that's actually a hard one. Who made it on podium then, or
no, like you say, like sometimes somebody's getting all the hype on social media, is, you know, but
no, it's not that that I'm not gonna call a name to let anyone down, but it's no, it's hard to call a name actually.
Yeah,
it's hard to call a name, but what I wanted to say is, like, for myself, I think I proved enough to at the second place in the event where you might be lucky. You know, I really feel like, okay, I've proven enough to claim it. You know, there's guys who Andrea Rosati was top 5 one time in Sylt in a one-hit wonder elimination. Maybe, you know, it's like, wow, he made a top 5, you know, but in any other event, you would actually never see him, you know. Okay, for sure you would see him, but, you know, not in the top 5.
You remember, like, one of the first PWAs we did, Bora Kozanoglu was leading.
Yeah, maybe this is
the event for like 4 days or whatever.
Yes,
because he won the first final.
I mean, he was top 16.
Yeah, he was super fast, of course.
Yeah,
but
he was always fast. Yeah.
So all that, and so social media, it's a kind of a part of our life now with on tour and whatever, and sponsors are looking at it, and
sponsors are looking at it a lot at the moment. Yeah, especially with the last 2 years.
Yeah, and. But I get a feeling that for now it's still, I don't want it to be rude or whatever, but I feel like we need to educate the people a little bit better on what's, you know.
Yes, I know exactly.
Like what's real and what's not real, and what's a joke and what is not a joke. And so let me ask you this: what's the dumbest thing you've heard in the windsurfing social media, or you've seen?
Ritis, I'm going to put this out here. When I saw the vlog about Ritis winning a race with us in Tenerife, and the funny thing was that Thomas and Ennio were there as well. They're like, oh, look, he's going back now to make his vlog because he won a race with southwest wind on the foil. I remember exactly. And
southwest, for the people that don't know, like normally Tenerife is northeast with the waves and stuff. And if you get southwest, it's flat and super gusty. It can be from 0 to 30.
Yeah. And it's like very unstable conditions, right? And he was super light. And Enrico was smoking us all day long, you know. You could not even touch him. And I think second was you. You know, you two were fighting and everyone else was not there. I think you were either back to the beach changing something whatsoever. Enrico was not there anymore, as he probably got bored from smoking us all. In the end, out of 10 guys, there were 3 people at the finish line, which were like, I know, Cedric, who we didn't see all the time, Malte, which didn't do, and Ritis won, you know. And he made a vlog, I won a race in Tenerife, and look at me and this. And I was really like, no, you know, Jesus, no. You know, if it's 6 to full power, 10 guys at the start, 10 guys at the finish, you win, you know, I'm like, Ritis, hands down. But there I was just like, come on, yeah, you're fast and you're doing good and stuff, but please don't use something like this super bullshit to claim you beat us all, you know, because he was then mentioning, oh, look, there's Jordy, oh, look, there's this. Man, I stopped foiling after 50 meters. You beat me. Well, congratulations.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned this, because I was thinking more about like the kind of the aggregators on Facebook in the comments and whatever, kind of people like this, rather than rather than one of our own, let's say. So,
no, I remember that a guy came. He was beating you. It's like, man, what he was beating? And I look online, and I was really like, Jesus. But
I tell you, I think it comes from the fact that when you feel like you're making progress, and you are making progress because you go from 30th to 20th, then from 20th to 15th, and you are making progress, and you are a fucking sick windsurfer. You go with people. You go with people that were beating you 5 years ago, and you absolutely smoke them and whatever. But the general public still doesn't care, no? So you want to prove it.
They don't see it, and the thing is, in the end, let's face it, it's smart that he's doing it. He's getting a lot of views. People watch it, people like it. I think where he is now is also partly because of these vlogs. So I also kind of understand and I respect and
kind of.
And I think yeah, this let's say this one was a little bit like. Yeah, but the general things, the general things he's doing, I think it's a smart way to make kind of let's say a statement, not a statement, like a name for yourself. Like I think all we had to could do at our time. It sounds like we're old, but was we he's actually the same. He is actually the same age as us, but as me. But we had to race. We had to show it. We had to make finals and get our name there. And now there's different ways. And it's also nice. It's also like look at Nico Green, what he's doing. He looks super professional, and he really makes himself a name out of himself through the vlogs. Yeah,
let's say that not everybody has I don't want to say balls, but not everybody has the persistence to kind of get fucking destroyed for like 5 years straight, and making fun of and whatever. Because we're kind of easy, but I think the generation before us, I mean, they were pretty hardcore how they would treat us and laugh and whatever, and kind of just like make fun of you straight in your face and whatever. So I think you need a certain persistence, and I kind of understand not everybody wants to go through it at that same time making fucking pennies or not making anything and whatever, And
did you feel there was another option?
No, because in the end I was enjoying it. Enjoying it. And when you get a final or you get a top 10 or whatever, it feels like you fucking made it. But then you put it on Facebook as if you won the Olympics or whatever, and nobody gives a fuck, So that's why I'm saying, like, you know what I mean? So, and then once you start doing good, and maybe you have a bad event or a bad day or whatever, people are like, don't worry, you're still the best, da da da. And when I made those same results 5 years ago, you people didn't give a fuck.
Yeah, true.
So, yeah. No, because now, I was asking more, like, now there's so much about fin versus foil and the conditions. And I think Israel was pretty biased towards foil, the conditions, and everybody now, thinks that.
And I was talking with a couple of guys, like you probably think the same. Like, I think it was 2017 that I saw actually William Huppert for the first time on a foil in Costa Brava. And we were like, wow, what is this? Using a 7 meter when we couldn't even race with a 9.0. And we're like, oh, what is this? And so much has changed from then. I remember we were just, fuck it, where are your fins? Big board, medium board, small board. 46, 44 down. And that was
it. minus 47.
No.
It was the first hydrofoil. Basically. But it's like, at one point, sometimes it's like, fuck, it was so much less stressful, because with the fin, okay, you needed, to win, everything had to fit, right? But still, I had the feeling with a little bit of manpower, you can always kind of make things work. Or with the foil, and if you have a slow foil, you're slow. That's it.
ciao. You know, you still have to be a good, you still have to be a good foiler, all of that. But like it made our work, let's say, so much more.
Well, maybe right now, maybe it's a little bit like that.
Yeah, this is the process going into,
but
it's still new.
Yeah, I don't know. When I think some combos that I had, they just wouldn't work on the fin either, you know. So I think it's just
this is also true. It's also true, but it feels I don't know. It's a different feeling after now with the foil.
No, I kind of feel like there's a lot of like technique and stuff involved with the foiling, and maybe you feel that way because you're up there and whatever, but you see some guys that didn't pick up foiling early enough that you can give them the fastest foil, but around the course you're not going to see them, right?
That's true. It's true.
So
you see,
So I think it's just maybe from your perspective, it's a little bit different than others. But let's take it back still to, like you said, you finished 4th in the world 2 years in a row, 18 and 19, and you kind of knew that foils were coming for 2020, and 4th is like probably, like we said at that time, it's best of the rest, basically, because there was those 3 guys that you could probably from 2015, I think. From 2015, you could basically pencil them in for the top 3. You knew that they were there and they were super strong, and it was very hard to touch them. So what, like in your mind for 2020, which we all know what happened, some guy ate a bat and the fucking world went crazy, or whatever it was. I don't want to. What was your plan? What was your mindset? Like, okay, taking the next step. I saw your video. I mean, I don't want to call it arrogant, but you said like from 4th, now you got to win, which I found quite funny because they're still 3rd and 2nd, but whatever. But I guess that was your mindset at that time. So what was what was the expectation, let's say, heading into 2020?
I mean, it was like I always said, my goal is to become world champion. For you, it's the same. And you became now 4th as well. So for sure, if I would finish 3rd, I would be happy. For sure. But I do believe we raced to become world champion. And sometimes you got to speak it out. It's not like for you, I want to step up on the podium stuff, but in the end, I became 4th because I wanted to become world champion. It's not I want to become 3rd, and I'm going to focus on the 3rd place. No, in fact, you focus on becoming world champion, and if you don't make it, for sure, I wish then to be 2nd or 3rd, and it really feels a little bit now still, it's like when I became 4th twice, everything beside that podium, I kind of achieved. If I become 5th, after doing like this year, if I become 5th after doing 6 events, a lot of different conditions, fucking hard battles, tight in points, it can still be an amazing result. I can still be satisfied, but fuck, for sure, I go for the world title. I believe that should be your aim. And this year, for sure, I mean, things changed a little bit because of foil and fin coming together, right? So it doesn't feel like this year isn't kind of an extension from 2019 and before. No, because the discipline changed so much. It's kind of almost a new thing again.
Did it though? You kind of see the same guys if you take the 2021 and then 2019 rankings. Yeah, the difference is Goyard is up there, but it's kind of the same guys, no?
For sure, it's the same. It's similar guys fighting, but it does feel a bit different, right? I mean, I still believe the foiling is a very different thing than the fin sailing. So sure, it's the same guys who are fighting, but still, to me, it feels like it's a bit of a different thing we do now. And don't get me wrong, I believe it's the way to go. But for sure, like this result for me doesn't completely feel as a follow-up from before. You see a lot of Pierre is the last Finn champion, because it was only Finn, which is kind of true. But yeah, I went a bit off path now. But still, even with the discipline change, my aim is to become world champion, and I still feel that anything off the podium I achieved. So I should have the aim.
For sure. Like you say, I think everybody sets out with that goal. The question is, what do you do if let's say you come fifth twice in a row, and like you say, it's still amazing and whatever, but it's always that little thing, like, what if I actually don't win? And then what then?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's important that I'm competitive. If I feel that I'm backing off, that I cannot keep up anymore, that the foiling is not for me or whatsoever, then I'm like, okay,
yeah,
I don't feel.
How big do you think the step is from fourth to actually being in the world title conversation?
Depends. When is Antoine going to retire?
No, but what I'm trying to ask is, like, you can probably win by consistency, but in the end, most of the times, the guys that win, they just win a lot of finals. Let's say, they kind of. You gotta have like at least a few sizes that you dominate, or maybe you and another guy. Like, sometimes you have a magic combo that only exactly. Let's say only Pierre is up there with you, or only whatever Matteo can touch you, or whatever. Like, yeah. So how? Because I was just thinking about it lately, and I wonder, what do you think? How big the step is actually?
It must be a massive step. The thing is, I don't know because I never made the step, but for sure it's still a massive step, and it changed now again, because before it was like, let's say if foil would not be there, for sure you go in the next year with the mindset, okay, I got to break that top three, Now it's not like that anymore, because suddenly there's new guys. Goyard, for example, comes into play, So it kind of mixes up not your game plan, but it mixes up your mind a little bit. Like, okay, it's not about breaking the traditional top three. It's also, kind of taking care of this Nico Goyard, who's absolutely killing it on the foil. So for me, for example, it really looks like this. Like, let's hope, pray, fingers crossed that we have at least 5-6 events this year in different conditions, and then I feel you kind of really see where you are again, because for me, Israel was not a representation of a world tour,
Yeah, I mean, you can see we did the event in Croatia, and out of 11 eliminations, 7 of them were on the Finn,
Yeah.
It was like... It wasn't even that windy, but because it wasn't live streamed, and because Nico wasn't there, it's very hard to kind of measure it, right? But
the thing is, you still know. we know, and we know our own level on the Finn and on the own level on the foil. But still, I think everyone would have loved, we would have loved Nico to be there to see what actually happened.
Yeah.
And that's still got to happen. And I hope it will happen this year, and I'm not saying that in a way like, because then we will get him. No, not at all. In the Daffy Wind, I didn't even see him finish, and I was on my 6-2. So, but still,
but in another race you were leading and you couldn't see him because he took too small of a gear. So too small of a foil. Yeah.
It's moments.
That's the thing, I think, that on the social media side, like Defi, I would never expect to do good, and I did good, and then you hear like, but if Nico didn't break his foil, he would win or something. And I was like, guys, calculate the points. It's not, not
but
like
it's
that.
if. What if, you know? If I were 5 knots faster than you, I would have won. You know, it's like, come on. You know, it's no one wins something with if.
Yeah, Brazinho has a good one on this. If I had 6 tits, I would be a pig, he says.
I heard you saying this before in the lefty feet and someone made the if comment. Yeah. It's like this.
Okay, so lately, or actually not so lately anymore, he's a big boy already, but your first son was born. And apart from the life stuff, for your windsurfing, in the car racing, they say you get a 10th slower with every kid per lap. So what, in windsurfing is 1 knot? Or what? Or 10th of a knot?
I don't know. To be honest, like when we kind of announced that he was coming, there were some people asking, like, are you still going to windsurf? Are you still going to compete and stuff? And this really made me think, like, do really people think I'm not motivated anymore? Like, what the hell? You know, Pierre got world champion after like 8 months after getting his baby and stuff, you know? I was like, Jesus, do people really ask me this? And I was still hungry as ever, you know? That's why it was actually one of the reasons why I think 2.5 weeks after he was born, I came to the 1 hour. I was really like, you know, fuck no. I will just show. I might be a daddy now, but I just want to show that I still have it in me, you know. And then I actually
got a bit lucky, unlucky and lucky at the same time. Unlucky in the slalom and lucky in the foil.
Yeah, I mean, if both races, I mean, my action, I really felt like it was perfect. We talk about the 1 hour now, of course. On the foil in the first race, I think you were on a 9 meter. I was on 7.8.
Yeah,
and I was perfectly powered the whole race. And then
you just disappeared. And I kind of had to fight for second.
Yes.
And then the following day we did another race. Yeah, and I disappeared. I don't know, you got stuck on too small gear and whatever, but because the best distance counts on the 1 hour and the wind was dying, you kind of so whoever makes the most laps wins, but not from basically your best race counts. And then I remember like jibing in first, and I would cross you in the middle of the lake. You were still going to the mark.
I was like,
I guess it's not gonna count. I was like, fuck you.
No, because I told you already after the second lap or something. Yeah. Because I mean, I was doubting between 8.8, 7.8, and then someone came to me and was like, Jordy, you really think you're gonna be faster today with the 8.8 than yesterday with the 7.8? Like, man, I was perfectly powered the whole race. I was like, I take 7.8. If it's too small, we're gonna be slower anyway, and it kind of worked out.
Yeah, no, it works. That event is another, like every event, it has a little bit of a and then I was leading the Finn thing by a lot. Like I was actually leading by a lot. I finished third and I didn't see you, so
man. And then I see like 30 people who stopped playing in front of me, and I'm like, fucking hell, how am I gonna make it? And I stopped. And I was standing there for so long, and I see Matteo coming towards me, and he comes, and he stops as well. And we float around the buoy, we float, and my 8.4 was not as powerful as his 8.6, and he pumps and I pump, and I'm like, man, I'm not the best pumper, but I cannot go. And then he won. Fuck! I was so angry. I was so pissed. Sure. But still, you know, the whole point was really like I kind of wanted to show like, hey, I became daddy, but I'm serious about this. You know, I'm still fast. I still want to do this. I'm still as motivated, and for sure things are a little different. And it kind of also opens you that there's more than racing. Like it's some moments with him are so magical, so nice.
But then maybe you're even more motivated, no? Because you gotta like afford the nappies and stuff, and in racing, basically, like especially in windsurfing, if you don't race good, you don't really.
It for sure gives you a little bit of pressure. You know, you got your family to feed, and you know, if you don't race good, you will not get the budgets. It was actually quite a rough one anyway, because he's not a Corona baby. He's made pre-Corona. But then Corona came, budgets were it was really a bit like in the year I get a baby, suddenly budgets get cut like nothing else.
50% cut or whatever, yeah.
Yeah, that was quite tough to take, to be honest. But yeah, what can I say? Everything is running fine. I think this year for sure in Israel I was struggling, with the foil. And then I broke the thing in the first race. Your confidence just goes down. In the end, I still managed to become 10th. But then in Croatia, I was competitive. In Greece, we had a nice little fight until the last race. I still think I'm showing I'm one of the guys, and that that makes me feel safe for now.
yeah, and I think for us right now it's good, but for the guys that are coming, it's not. Like, once you prove yourself, people in the industry, let's say, they're not gonna just like decide from 1 second to the next that you're shit,
Yeah, but the thing is, like, we, especially now in COVID times, let's say, they're looking a bit like at your market value, and at the beginning your market value was high because you were doing good in races. Now, with not so many races around, there's a lot more things involved. I'm doing these clinics. I'm setting up some videos, instruction videos for the brands. Being active with the people, doing some shop visits. I do a lot of stuff on the side, and these things are very valuable for sponsors as well. So I believe you can kind of drop down in your results a little bit when these other things are very high, very valuable. Your market value is still high, so you will still get budgets. But fuck, in the end, I'm a racer. No, I prefer to win and don't do clinics than be 15th and do clinics. Later on you can do this kind of stuff. But for sure, I have some clinics planned. You never know how the year is evolving. But yeah, the focus is still.
If you look at Antoine, maybe you can race for a while.
Unbelievable,
guys! This is insane. Yeah,
absolutely. He got more than 20. He was doing his first World Cup before I was born.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and the guys that he raced with are already were retiring before we did our. Yeah, it's crazy. He was already old when he got on tour.
But I think this is quite a funny thing. Like, I feel we are still quite lucky to have raced with some legends. Like, I was racing against Björn Dunkerberg, but Josh Angulo, Michael Bujanes, these kind of guys. And now I kind of start to appreciate those times a little bit as well. Like, at least I still raced against them a little bit.
Yeah, no, for sure. And like the magnitude of the advice they give you, and you kind of remember, you remember stuff.
For sure. I remember bringing Josh Angulo to the airport, and then he tells me some stuff, and it's cool. It's cool to have.
Yeah, no, and I don't know. I think it's because of the accessibility of like you can, you text me on Instagram, I usually reply. There's not this aura, around.
No.
The stars of today, let's say, where we're actually going. Okay, for sure, the sport is a lot smaller too, but we're also going towards the people much more.
Yeah. But this has changed in the last 10 years as well. I mean, Ben van der Steen, for example, helped me out a little bit at the beginning. I was going to Tarifa, but at that time there was no Instagram where you would follow him and ride him or stuff. I just got lucky to meet him one time and ask him if I could come to Tarifa one time, and but beside that, we were not in contact with any of the riders. I never asked anything to any other guy. This came later a little bit on tour when you start to see them in real and you're still a bit shy to ask stuff, and then they say something to you, so you go, "Ooh, maybe I can ask something." That's how it kind of started. Now that doesn't seem to happen anymore. Now they're already big friends from some riders, and they just get along.
Yeah. Okay, 2022, right around the corner. What's the expectations? What's the,
And I think I remember last year we're like, this year COVID will be gone, and it was not. I don't know. I don't know what to say. What we can expect this year. I just hope for the best. I hope with certain protocols we can make events happen. Because I do believe the whole world is willing to go on and get this thing behind us, and I believe more and more events are happening. Formula One last year was already basically back on track completely. So I believe we will have some more racing than we had last year. I have some hopes.
Yeah,
but we will not be back to normal. I'm not sure if we will be pushing people against the ceiling of the American bar
already. Yeah.
Not sure.
Yeah. Hey, I know you listen to this podcast, which I appreciate, but that's not why I mentioned it. I mentioned it because we have this little section of quickfire questions that if you're prepared, they will be quickfire. So I hope you're prepared a little bit. Okay. What are your pet peeves?
Pet peeves. Yeah, I gotta admit, before listening to the podcast, I didn't know what pet peeves were.
Yeah. I need to get around to changing those questions actually, but I don't know.
New year, new questions.
Yeah.
I have a couple people driving on the left lane for too long. And when you drive 1,000+ kilometers and you kind of want to go, and there's this fucker who fucking stays on the left line. I fucking hate it. I freaking hate it.
Yeah, that's a good one. I think it's normal. How many times a day do you pee your wetsuit?
Depends. Not so much anymore, gotta admit. In Sylt, as much as possible. As much as possible.
Your top 5 windsurfers of all time.
Yeah, this one comes up with the pretty classic names. The Antoine, Björn Dunkelberg, Robbie Nash. But for sure, for me, Peter Fullwater. It's a Dutch hero. He should definitely be up there. And I want to throw one girl, Sarah Kita, in as well.
Yeah. Most underrated windsurfer of all time.
It's hard to like. I want to take one from my generation, and I think it's Pascal Toselli.
Fucking fast.
Man, he's so fast. He's so fast, and I believe he got a bit unlucky sometimes, and then wrong gear decisions, let's say. And but I remember when we were together on 2015 on 0.7 Starboard, and this guy was so fast. I think he's and in the end, not many. Because he's quite a silent guy, so not many people really know about him. I think and he's such a nice, friendly, mega fast guy. So
and he's been like that for forever now. Like we got this book at the Defi that is like whatever it is, 25 years of the Defi, and there's like from 2002 there is like youth champion Pascal Toselli, and then he won again the whole thing in a few so super fast. And now unfortunately he had this heart condition that made him
poor guy.
retire. And because of COVID and because there's not many events and whatever, nobody really knows that what happened to him. So it's a bit of a bit of a shame. But I saw him winging the other day in France, no? So
yeah, he says he's giving some wing lessons at the club there.
Yeah.
So this he can still do.
Yeah. I doubt many people taking lessons know what he was actually capable of, like leading the event in Fuerte before he dislocated his shoulder. And
that kind of stuff.
So that was definitely fast. Foil freestyle, yes or no?
Yes.
Beach starts in slalom, yes or no?
Special occasions, yes.
Obstacles in slalom, yes or no?
Like I'm a big let's say yes. Like personally, I'm not a good jumper. I don't think I would do good. But the Super X was freaking amazing. I remember watching magazines and seeing some YouTube videos about the Super X. It was epic. So I think it's cool stuff.
Yeah. We should probably maybe try in Tenerife, convince TWS to just put a sausage and just try. Maybe it's not cool, maybe it's just crap. I don't know, but it seems pretty cool.
I think if we can arrange a sausage, we put it. Why not?
Yeah. One spot you'd have to sail every day for the rest of your life.
Yeah, the thing that I would go for a wave spot, but then I really like Hakat in Cape Town. Although it's halfly claimed by Italians. But yeah, for every day of your life, it's a bit tough maybe. But let's say this is my favorite spot.
Hagat with no Italians.
Yes.
I can grant you this one. Worst excess baggage bill or check-in story.
Yeah, I have two quite remarkable ones. Like one where I literally got denied on the flight. Like I was in Munich flying to Tenerife, and Enrico made sure a guy from JP dropped off his boards at the airport as well. So I was flying with 6 or 7 bags or something. And I'm talking with the lady and she's like, you booked 1 bag. It's 7 bags. And then for 10 minutes, she's busy and calling and blah, blah. And she's like, look, when you go to this side of the airport, you can find the storage place. What storage place? Yeah, you can take 1 bag and the other 6 you can leave in the storage place. You think I'm showing up here with 7 bags to now for 2 months leave 6 of them in the storage place? I'm like, Jesus, I gotta take this with. And in the end, there was no way I could grab more than 1 bag. And then I had to drag 7 bags in Munich airport, which I don't know if you know it, but in the terminal, it's super narrow. It's horrible. It's horrible. Driving to 2 different companies. And in the end, the third one took me 5 hours later. But yeah, the new ticket, had to pay 7 bags extra, blah, blah, blah. So this was pretty bad, but I was happy at least I could fly out the same day. Yeah. And a funny one was with our dear friend, Alberto Menegatti, where we were checking in for Turkish Airlines. And I think it was 2014 or something. So I was still a bit new and, you were checking in already a couple times, but you're not the pro yet. So you're kind of still learning the skills a little bit. And I'm paying for my bags, and I managed to, I think, pay 3 instead of 5 bags. And Alberto comes next to me. He's like, can I have your pen, please? And she grabs the pen from the lady. He stretches his 5 bags and writes 2 bags, gives the piece of paper and the pen back to the lady. She's looking. 2 bags. That's 180 euros. Yeah. And I look to him and he's like, this is how you do it. I was like, Jesus, unbelievable. Always pushing the limit. Yeah. So, but I have to say, I think the worst bill I paid is 800 euros. Then one time I had to reschedule a new flight. So I didn't get fucked too much. Sometimes I didn't pay anything for 5 bags. it balanced out quite.
Yeah, I heard some pretty amazing stories with Transavia out of Amsterdam, like not paying. Like I remember you showing up with a bag that three of us had to lift to even get it off the ground, and like
I even with Transavia even managed to get me and Basti's bags to New Caledonia for €40.
Yeah,
because they believe the one set. So I put my board in a different bag, I put my mast in a different bag, and the boom in a different bag, and the sail in a different bag. So sometimes you can check in 4 bags for €40.
Yeah, we hope nobody from Transavia is watching this.
No, because when I tell them a sail would be 9 square meters, they go like 9 square. Oh yeah, that's big, and there's like 6-7 sails inside.
Yeah, for sure. Who is or was your worst competitor?
I don't really have one competitor, I'd say.
Last jibe, who you don't like to have behind you?
Not like to have you behind me. I know you like that sneaky late inside Max Verstappen taking that kind of thing. Although I got you back one time as well, I remember. But
I don't remember.
I actually have...
no, I actually don't remember all these things.
No, I remember some.
Yeah, because I did this video about no rules. Everybody thinks I remember of every situation or whatever, but actually I don't know.
No, there's people also, you have probably had the same. You come to Holland, you're like, I saw this jibe there where you overtook this guy, and you go like, yeah, don't remember. Because they've seen it on the live stream. Yeah.
You were much faster than Albo in this heat. Like when I was like, I don't know, 2014 in New Caledonia. And I'm
it's annoying how...
And which heat this was? Yeah, heat number 7. Like, okay, first round. Antoine didn't really push.
Yeah, but it's also when, this camera angle, when the guy at the boat seems to be 100 meters in front of the guy at the pin. And then they come towards you and it looks like the guy at the pin is 5 knots faster than anyone else.
Yeah, when it's onshore. So when it's onshore, it looks like that.
Yes,
it's like the guy at the boat is gonna be miles in front. But then, luckily now with the drone, you can actually see
who's actually fast.
yeah, you had a good one on the drone, like a photo finish with someone in New Caledonia.
Yeah, with Enrico. That was amazing.
Yeah. Well, he just left you a highway, but whatever. Nowadays, I don't think he would do it.
No, I don't think I will pass him from below.
You get $1 million in cash and you need to spend it instantly. What do you get?
I'll get a SIG van, Audi RS6 on the side, apartment in Tenerife. More often. I think they went there already.
First the cars and then the apartment.
I remember some lame answers, so I wanted to put something nice in
there. Yeah. Last but not least, who would you like to hear on this podcast?
Who didn't we have yet? Which could be fun. I love we need to find somebody like Martin Brandner. I saw him in Greece. I told him, like, dude, you're a freaking legend. Your stories are so nice. Like a guy who has, like, hard to come up with a name now, but someone who has, like,
it was like from the industry, but is retired or something, or is not afraid to just talk, right?
Exactly. Like those open stories, in the end, I don't believe he said anything bad, I don't think he harmed anyone, even though he said something sketchy about something. He also said the good things. He did it amazing. Like if we can find a person like that again, I think that would be great.
Yeah.
If a name pops up, I could let you know.
Yeah. Right on, Jordy, sorry. Again.
Almost.
We're back to where we started. Thanks so much. I guess I see you in Tenerife for the training, and should be fun. I actually can't wait. Didn't windsurf for a while, a couple of weeks, so
me more than a month. So it's gonna be fun.
Yeah. Right on. Thanks for the chat. See you around.
Cheers. Thank you, buddy.
There we go. Another podcast wrapped up. If you did like that podcast, don't forget to drop a like and show your appreciation in the comments. Yes, for sure. Also, as I say every week, let us know who you want to see on the podcast. And if you do want to chip in some beer money, it's probably well to do it right now, because we have lots of competitions going on at the moment where we're giving away sails, we're giving away boards. And if you're a member of Windsurfing.TV, which means you've chipped in some beer money, help support the channel, we're just trying to give it back to the guys that support in us, which is in the terms of giveaways. So there you go. That's it. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and we'll see you for the next one.